SMD Law is the official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Check them out on the interwebs at smdalaw.com or at 866-529-3537. No matter where you are in the state of Michigan, Upper Peninsula, Lower Peninsula, it doesn't matter. They have an office near you. So whether you need to send a letter to an annoying neighbor, or you're a criminal and you need defense, maybe you just have problems with elder law, check them out, smdalaw.com today. The official law firm of the Spartan Nation. Call them first, then you act.
I think about 2 weeks ago I went through everything, so we're on day 4 right now. Continue to be impressed with our student athletes, our football players in terms of how they handle things, the leadership, the way they've gone about their business on the field here in these 4 days. Getting guys as many reps as we can right now. They're working hard, and I'll take some questions. We'll go from there. Thanks.
Mark, when you promoted Brad Salem, one of the reasons you gave is his success as an offensive play caller when he was a head coach at Augustana. And when you study his offense, it was very audible heavy. In the past, you've allowed guys to maybe have checks, but not necessarily audible heavy. Are you willing to, if that's the direction Brad wants to go, to let him?
Well, I think first of all that I think offenses today are predicated upon what you see is really what you will get in terms of you see a particular defense, you're going to certain things. That's the basis of RPOs. It's the basis of a lot of different things, whether you run to the 3 or run to the shade, based on different things. So it's a lot of it's predicated on what you see, whether it's coverage in front related or blitzes and those type of things. And those things have always been opportunities for our quarterbacks to get out of bad plays. So those type of things will continue. They continue all over the country. So in the event that but we're going to give our quarterbacks some latitude. We always have. So I don't think that those things are going to change. That guy needs to control his shoes out there. That's the nature of that position. That's why it's criticized and praised probably the most of any other position in football. Yeah.
Mark, as good as your defense was last year, there's always a next step, obviously. Where would you hope to see it be even better, next step?
Well, I think last year, we came up with interceptions. We didn't come up with the fumbles. Sometimes balls were on the ground. I think, we stopped the run. We played pretty good on 3rd down. We were difficult to score on. Of course, you want to continue to get better in those areas, but I think what we would like to see is our turnover margin be better than +1. When you look at us in 13 and 14, and I think 15, I think we led the Big Ten in turnover margin, and I think we were +14 or something like that at one point in time, maybe in 13 or 14. So that wins football games for you. So can't turn it over, but got to come up with maybe some more fumbles, maybe ball disruption a little bit more. We work on it, but sometimes they come in batches.
Mark, you talk about the offensive line a couple days into practice right now. I guess, where do you feel that group is in terms of having guys that can be interchangeable either in positions or with each other, and just in particular with Cole Chewins, where do you feel he is at right now and needs to be by game 1?
I think that our first of all offensive line is usually when you're trying to get things going and everything, and you're in day 4 and your defense is a little bit ahead of your offense and that type of thing, but basically that's the way it usually is everywhere. So you're trying to get everybody on the same page, trying to get them to work in unison, those type of things. I think we have guys that have played, as I said earlier, I think is maybe last Friday or whenever it was, Charlie Higbee is making steps to get back involved, so he's still not back all the way, but I think he will be shortly. And then after that, it's, hey, what are we playing today? Are you playing left tackle, right tackle? Are you playing left guard, or are you playing center? Those type of things. So I think that type of thing's going on. So we want to find the best 5, get them involved, get them situated, and then beyond that, there's 3 or 4 other guys that have played, and then there'll be some newcomer or somebody will step into, whether it's some freshman or a younger player will get involved as well. So, but they're taking steps.
So with Chewins, especially having missed the 2nd straight spring.
Yeah, Cole's got to be healthy, and you're going to make sure that he has every opportunity to do that throughout the camp. So we'll take it easy on him, sort of nurture him along.
Mark, you talk a lot about the coaching shifts you made, and I got to imagine at some point for some of those guys it maybe wasn't the easiest practice, which or for any of the guys. Did you sense that was a tough thing for some of those guys? And at what point have you seen it or have you seen it get back to, okay, now we kind of got a job to do?
Yeah, I understood it was going to be tough. It was going to be a tough situation. You know, that's human nature. But at the same time, they'll also have another opportunity to go back to their initial positions, I think, of expertise, like I've said. And then also, we've got tremendously unselfish people, and our coaches just want to win. Our coaches just want to have our guys play well. They want to have input in their life, I guess, and make a difference in their lives. But as much as anything, you know, success is what they're looking for. So sometimes you got to put everything else over here on this side of the table and put it over there and leave it there and get back to work. And I think our coaches have done that. They've been extremely diligent. They've worked very well together. They've put aside any egos and those type of things. And I've been very impressed about how they've gone about their business in terms of critiquing everything, reevaluating everything, restructuring their meeting rooms with the players and the things that they want to involve our players with. And it's been impressive to see how they've gone about their business.
Mark, obviously Brian was used more in the running game with his legs in 17 than last year. Maybe partially early to try and prevent him from getting hurt, and then late, obviously, when he was injured. How do you use him in that dynamic, and what that does for your offense and opening up plays when he's an effective runner as well?
Yeah, I think the majority, especially when you look at his sophomore season, I think he had the ability to create, and you know, he created with his feet, created with his legs. He had some big scrambles, big runs, big plays, and he's got to be able to do those things. So the quarterback has to create with his decision making, with, you know, as we talked before, with his decision making as to what play to get into, or his decision making as the play continues on, and then he's got to be able to get out of trouble. He's got to be able to improvise and create. And so, you know, that's, again, I go back to, that's why the quarterback gets most praise or most criticism. One of the two things usually happen. But he's got to be able to do that. That's what our quarterback has to be able to do, and how we evolve to that, or how much we ask him to run the ball per se, really depends on the moment, probably, as much as anything.
Weston Bridges makes the move over to wide receiver. Can you talk about maybe the dynamic of if you can get him in space, if he can get into that top six?
Well, I think that he's got running ability. He's quick. He's you know, he's got 100-meter speed. So, you know, I just felt like that was his best opportunity to get on the field the soonest. He's got a transition that he has to make to wide receiver, but there's certainly opportunities when we run the ball out of, you know, our wide receivers run the ball as well. And, you know, run after catches and those type of things should be good at. So again, he's got to go through. He really didn't have that opportunity in the spring. Moved him in the summer, so he's got to go through the summer camp here. But he's going to have, you know, 20 plus practices to be able to do that.
Mark, right here to your right. Yes, you're right. What did you kind of break down? I guess
Every time I smile, I hear this camera.
What would you sort of say is the state of the tight end position? What do you want to see from Matt Dotson this camp, and what is sort of that pecking order like? Look behind him, and if you can, you know, sort of the role of that position in the sort of retooled offense you guys are working with.
Yeah, I think Matt Dotson's taken a step forward based on what I've seen him do thus far. And again, it's only four practices or so, 2 of them shorts. But I think he knows what to do, and he's doing it at a higher rate of speed. He's more physical. I think Trent Gillison's along the same lines, but behind him, he's a redshirt freshman. You know, Noah Davis is coming off an injury, so he's trying to get back into it. Matt Cyber's a guy that's been moved back over to the original position, and I think that he's certainly functional, and he's making strides as well. And then moved Parks Gissinger over there as well, and he's just learning the position. But I think that he's got a big upside as well. Maybe forgetting one guy, but that's basically it. I'm not sure. They're all sort of in a mix. After Dotson, I think they're all in the mix. The thing about tight ends, we can play a lot of people at that position and plan to do so.
Mark, if you could characterize how different do you think your offense will be? Would you call it a tweak, an overhaul, an update? Or I'm just looking for a word in your mind, the level of how different it'll be.
It'll be a question.
So you don't,
No, we're not going to expand on that right now. I don't want to do that. I think there's got to be something to be, you got to leave something in the bag.
I'm wondering on your favorite day to smile, media day,
Yeah, that's one of them.
if you ever reflect on your time here, now it's going on 13 years, did you think you'd be here 13 years? And as
Now, the big question is, did you think I'd be?
No. Is it going fast?
Yeah, it really has. I think that you're sort of, you're on the carousel. You're just going. You go from one thing to another when you're a coach, from football to recruiting to critiquing to spring ball or whatever. A little time off and you're back on it. So, I've been blessed to be here. I've been humbled to be here. And there's been a lot of great players here and a lot of great moments here. And that's really why we've sort of adopted chase the moments, because we've had some great moments. And we want those again. We want to chase those down and become part of that. So, yeah, it's gone fast in some ways, and in other ways it's sort of gone slow, much like life. So it's been a great experience.
Mark, right up in the middle here. As far as Jaden Reed, I know you said in Chicago you didn't think he'd be eligible. Is that official word yet or not? Whether he...
Well, I guess it's semi-official, but I keep trying. I'm going to keep trying to look at all the different ways and possibilities, but we'll see how that all works out. I wouldn't close the book until we close the book, because I think he's a very good player, and we want to do what we can do, but we'll see.
And then with running backs last year with LJ out most of the season, you have Connor and Darius, two guys who are relatively new to the position. How much have you seen those guys grow with just, like Connor saying, that was the most carries he ever had in his life, and then with Darius obviously never played the position before getting here?
Yeah, Connor's 2 years into this, so he's in his third year, so he should be adjusted to it, and then also Ladarius is now in his second year, and basically Muskegon, high school used him as pretty much a running back. He ran for over 2,000 yards, so he got plenty of opportunities to do the different things he needed to do. So with that in mind, we also have the other guys, and I think Elijah Collins is a much improved football player. We've got a couple freshmen as well. So it's going to be interesting to watch those guys in terms of how this plays out in summer camp.
You mentioned the limited number of guys who are moving into new starting roles. I mean, you got a lot of starters back. From the other side of that, guys like Xavier and maybe Antoine and some of the other guys that are moving into new roles. What's critical for them to, I guess, mesh and blend with guys, especially on the defensive side that have had some success?
Well, Antoine Simmons had a lot of opportunity last year to play, and he played very, very well. So he was probably in there 1/3 of the time at the very least. He's played extremely well, really in the spring, and he's picked right up where he left off. So I think that hopefully there will be no drop off there, and he's very motivated. And then Xavier played a lot as a true freshman in a nickelback situation, and then also he's another guy who's a very fast learner. Kari Willis was a great player back there from a leadership standpoint and a great tackler. So we're going to see how it all sorts itself out as we go forward. But Xavier has a lot of talent. He's put on another 10 pounds. He's 205 pounds plus. Can run very well. He's got great range and vision. He's got great ball skills. So he should have a tremendous career here. I think he's one of those guys that can be a next level player at some point.
Anthony Williams, Mark, is a guy that's really intriguing at running back. Is 205 kind of a goal number that you have for, if he can get to 205, he could be a bell cow type of player?
Yeah, I would say, he's over 200 right now, so he's within that, close to that, but he reminds me a lot of Jeremy Langford, a lot of ways he runs and things that he's able to do. And so again, it's going to be, how he does the little things outside of carrying the football are the things that really will finally define him. How's he pass protect, catch the ball out of the backfield or whatever we ask him to do. But he's a productive player. I don't think you can go to any practice and see that he produces. So it'll be exciting to watch him grow.
Coach, the defense is obviously the strength of the team. The pass rush took a step towards that last year. How important is it for the pass rush to take another step this year, and who are maybe the key guys in those roles for you?
Yeah, it's always important to continue to get better and to continue to overachieve. So you have a foundation, and our foundation, as your foundation grows, I think you have to continue to be able to surpass that. Our guys are doing that. I think we're deep at that position. Jacob Panasuk's come back. He's down in his weight. He's in the high 240s. He's much quicker, much more explosive. Gives us another guy, much like Kenny, probably on the other side. So that's exciting to watch. And then we've got some young players coming, so we'll see how that sorts itself out. But been impressed with our defensive line. Again, I think you build a foundation, you have to go past that. You know, I think our entire defense and our front, and especially really, I think have leaders on there, and they're self-motivated people right now. So that's a big positive.
In the couple of times I've spoken to Brian Lewerke in the last month or so, he seems to talk with a new sparkle, a confidence and almost a motivation to prove that he's worth who he was. In the early days of camp, do you sense a confidence in his play?
Yeah, I do. I think that he's bouncing back. You know, I mean, he was hurt some last year, but really beyond that, I think, you know, it's tough when everything's going so well for you as a sophomore, and then things don't go quite so well, and you know, things start to crumble around you from the media. And not that I'm on you guys, but you know, it's human nature. You got to be able to stand back up, and that's part of it. I think he's got that. I've been impressed with how he's handled things. He's just one cog out there. The quarterback is so important, but hey, if you put the ball on the money and the guy didn't catch it, you know, all you can do is put it on the money. You know, get in a different play and that play's supposed to work. Well, you know, that's not necessarily your fault either, you know, if you're running the football. So there's a lot of things that are out of his control. There's a lot of things that are in his control. And the thing that I look for is, can you lead and will you lead? And right now he's doing that, and I've been impressed with that, and I've also been impressed with Rocky Lombardi in that capacity too. Both guys have more experience than they had last year at this previous time, and that should pay dividends.
Mark, it's rare to have two starting cornerbacks returning for a team, but when you have two guys who had starting experience but interrupted injury seasons last year, what did Josh and Josiah, I guess, bring in terms of experience and presence at that position, and how much better can they make the pass defense?
Yeah, they're very confident players. I thought they both played extremely well in the last part of the season, especially the bowl game. I've been very impressed with Gervin and with Shakur Brown as well. Both those guys are playing well. But if you have lockdown corners, if you can play well on the edges, you know, everything else starts to become much easier. Thus far, they played very well, so we'll see how it all shakes out, and you know, probably come to game time and see how they're doing game in and game out over the course of the season. But they're good players, they're experienced, they're confident, and they got toughness, you know, mental toughness as well. And I think you've got to be able to have those corner positions. You've got to be able to respond after you've gotten beat. You know, that's part of it.
Mark, I know we talked to Tom Izzo line when he's talking about injuries. He's like, they can be used as excuses, but sometimes it's just reality. And when you look at, especially your offense last year, and the number of injuries, and I don't know if there really was a position that didn't deal with some sort of injury. How difficult is that as it's happening? And can you now, at this point, look back and say, well, a lot of this is because we had to play inexperienced guys, and be able to kind of put that behind you a little bit?
Well, when we had guys play with casts on, we had, you know, somebody told me that we missed 96 games. You know, guys missed 96 games, so something to that effect. So I didn't realize it was like that, but I think as a coach and as a player and as a group of people, you just next man up. You know, we really don't have time to say this happened or that happened. You know, you're not really judged on that. They don't put an asterisk there after your record, say, but they lost this many guys. So it's a bottom line figure, and we've never made excuses for it, and I'm not going to make excuses for it now. This is a physical game. Guys going to get hurt. Most of those guys got hurt. Almost all of them got hurt in a game. And some years you have things like that happen. Other years you go through and you don't have anybody get hurt. Much like the 13th season, I don't think we have any injuries. So you just got to deal with it. That's part of it. And some were nagging injuries. Some were injuries that put guys out for a couple weeks, others for the season. But most of them happened on offense, as you said, and I do think it affected us. But you know, nobody really wants to hear that today on August 5th. So.
Chief, you recently added longtime Mason coach Jerry Van Havel to your staff this year. Why was it important for you to bring him on, and maybe what qualities does he have that you think fits well into your program here?
Well, Garrett Brigham School went to basketball in that capacity, in a capacity, administrative capacity, so we had an opportunity to bring in an on-campus recruiting coordinator, and he was doing that at Mount Union. But what I was more impressed about was that he had 20 years of experience, I guess 29 years, I think, at Mason. He was a guy that a lot of coaches felt good about, who had recruited that school over the course of time. I'm talking about over a long period of time. He was a guy also that had success, and I just felt like he knew Michigan and he knew the Midwest. He knew a lot of coaches in that area. He was extremely thorough and had great attention to detail, and I think you have that. You need to have that. And then, from my perspective, the way when we interviewed him, he did a nice job in terms of interacting with the various people. So I thought it was a positive.
Mark, thank you again. Going into the second year with the 4-game redshirt rules and possibilities, I'm just curious what you learned, I guess, as a staff from last year, and how that changes, if at all, anything as you work through August going into game 1.
Yeah, I think it was very beneficial for everybody involved. I think it's very beneficial for a guy to be able to play 4 games and then still continue to redshirt. It helps with his graduation, number one. It helps with his graduation percentages. And then the second thing is he gives a game experience, which allows him to be more confident the next year when he comes and is able to play. So I think it was a very big positive thing. I mentioned at the Big Ten meetings in Chicago, I think they ought to do that with the transfers. I think they should have an opportunity to play 4 games. I think it would help in their graduation. Usually when you transfer, your opportunity to graduate, if you don't have to sit, your opportunity to graduate really goes down, just because of the nature of losing credits as you transfer in. So hopefully they make a decision at some point in time to remedy certain things with the transfer situation, but that would be my recommendation.
Got time for 2 more on that. Mark, with your special teams questions, one with the kickers, you bring back veterans, how much confidence do you have in Matt and the way he's progressed, and obviously been very consistent, and then with Jake coming back from missing most of last year, getting that final year, and with all the experience he has.
Yeah, Jake's looked very, very good, as has Matt in these 4 days of practice. I'm not sure. I mean, Matt's maybe missed 1, really way out there, but I've been impressed with both those guys. Looks like we should be good at those positions. And those guys got experience. They're as good as there is in the conference.
Hey Mark, Jim Comfort, SpartanMag.com. You mentioned about the injuries. The 3 receivers that I imagine looking pretty good right now. Cody White, Darrell Stewart, Jalen Naylor, each battled some injuries last year. If they're fortunate enough to stay healthy, how good is that unit, and how do they compare to maybe other wide receiver groups you've had in the past?
I think they're experienced. Naylor's a sophomore, but the other guys are very experienced. I think they fit right in with those great wide receiver groups that we've had in the past. They've got to be played, make those 50-50 catches, and I've seen them all do that on a continuous basis. So we're looking forward to that being a strength of our football team offensively, and it should be. Beyond that, I think C.J. Hayes is taking a step forward. We moved Julian Barnett over there. I think we've got Cam Chambers back, who's got experience. Julian Barnett's over there, and he's impressed. Reese Nelson's got game experience, made some plays last year. Another guy that was injured. I think all of our wide receivers were injured at some point in time. But so looking forward to that being a strength of our football team. That's other young guys as well.